Whenever you guys get in here, you guys are going to hear some kids coming in. I see a friend in here. Oh, oops. That's not what I wanted to do. You guys are going to hear my kids running upstairs. They're going to be mad that I'm not putting them to sleep tonight. But we are here.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm good. How are
I'm
you?
good. See, this is the good thing about you being on the West Coast. I'm like ending my day and you're
I
still
know,
like
right?
in a good.
And my day is like starting to, I guess it's the middle of the day. It's only 6.
Yeah, it is 9 on a Thursday. I got a little crimp in my hair. I can't get it.
You
Can't get
still
it
look
together.
beautiful.
Thank you. You too. What's your height? Do you get questions like that all the time? What's
Ah,
going on?
this is my first time on IG Live.
It's
Yeah,
why?
I don't know. I think I'm too busy, and I
Okay.
feel like nobody would want to talk to me. I don't know. I feel like there would be like 5 people, and I would be so embarrassed. Like, hey guys, I don't know. Maybe I need to start going online.
So I thought of stuff like that before, especially since we're like on a new platform. And I think it's hard because you see numbers in one place, but because someone was like, what was it? Like 20 likes on a post or whatever.
Oh
And
yeah,
we're like,
yeah.
ooh, that's terrible. But if you had 20 people show up in a room for you, you'd be like, wow,
That's
like people showed
true.
up for me. It's
That's
just
true.
weird how like social media has skewed number like and for all I'm not saying about you,
Yeah,
about me
yeah, yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah.
Because I don't go live on my I mean, I don't have as many followers as you, but I still don't go live on my
No,
page because I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be basically on a date with two other people on my live.
that's my fear. Okay, somebody said I need to go on live more, so I will.
You
I
do
will go.
because then you could like ask like because I saw you could be talking about pizza and these people are going to ask you questions about
That's
watermelon. Like
true.
they have questions for you.
They're like, how much that house cost? What's your social security number? How many bedrooms? I'm just like, oh, wow. So yeah, it'll be a great Q&A time. So I will. That's a good point because it's very hard to reply and answer every single question. But if I go on live, I
Mhm.
could just verbally say it. So
Exactly.
that makes
Oh,
sense.
see? Oh, they ready for that. I'm ready for the house tour too.
I'm in my office. Well, look at my office, y'all. Y'all get VIP sneak peek of the
Wait,
mess.
that's a big
No,
office.
it's
Wait,
not.
let me
It's
see.
small.
Where's this
It's small.
in? Okay.
It's my little office that I'm. Hi. It's not prepared yet, so.
Well, I mean, you literally just moved in. If it was,
I know,
I'd be
right? There's something
very
going
impressed.
on. No, it's boxes everywhere, but I'm gonna share that journey of me unpacking, and I already like painted some rooms and stuff like, and you guys see.
I can't wait. How has life been lately? So we saw you in March, and I know a lot happened. You moved. What have you
Yeah.
been up to? How is life? How are you? How are your kids?
Everything has been good. Kind of like start. So single mom now. When I went there, I was already separated.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if I like put it out on my platform yet.
It had just gone
Okay,
out, but
it
I
just
could,
got
it
so
was very fresh,
it was
and
very
we
fresh.
weren't there for that.
Yes, going through that, but that's been since February, so now
Yeah.
it's June. So like, it's kind of not old news, but it's not
It's
fresh
hot girl
anymore.
summer.
That's what it's giving. She said, "Look,
Not,
I
I
this is
cannot.
done." It's
Ah. You
like
know
it's
what?
summertime. I mean, I've already.
Summertime fine. See what's out there. Just
Girl,
practice. Just practice.
not practice. I cannot. You know what? The funny thing is, nobody knows that I'm single. So nobody even tries to approach me or anything like that. So I just been me and my kids. That's it. That's all I'm focusing on is me and my kids,
Mhm.
making moves, buying a house. That was a stressful process, especially
Good
being
for
an
you.
entrepreneur,
Mhm.
like the taxes and all that. They're like, okay, we have to do 20 more
I'm
things.
like,
I
what
don't have.
taxes?
I know exactly. That's what happened like 2 years ago. Like a year, every year we were like, okay, let's try to buy a house. We were already living in a house,
Yeah.
but they're like taxes, and we're like, what taxes? So the last 2 years, that's what I've been working on is getting my taxes right and getting I have 3 accountants. So I was prepared this time, and here I
All
am.
I got for you, still don't trust those accountants. Know where every penny goes, because that's how all these entertainers
Yeah.
go broke.
Oh,
They're
trust
like,
me.
my money was going, what happened? And then they act
Yeah.
really confused. I don't care. I don't care if it's your auntie. Still check every month. You need
Oh,
something.
trust me, I
Ask questions.
have my own chart, like Excel
Good.
sheets, see everything, and I'm the one who's like, where's this payment? Or hey, da da da. So they're like,
Okay.
oh, but so I'm very strict about that.
Good.
But let's see, besides that, I'm pretty sure I'm St. Jude's dream home dream girl again this year.
What?
So last year I was basically for Nevada the face for St. Jude, and
Hmm.
I did the house giveaway, like the dream home giveaway. They loved our collaboration so much that they want to have me again. So that's what I'm going to be doing over the summer and fall is trying to promote the giveaway and talk
Yeah.
about St. Jude. In a couple weeks, I'm going to Hawaii. And then the week
Ooh.
after that, I'm going to Colombia. So I'm very busy and trying
See,
to renovate and move in at the same time. And I'm getting a new cat in a couple weeks. I'm just like, I don't know
I was with you until
how.
you said,
Nobody likes cats, unfortunately, but it's an exotic cat. It's a Bengal, so it's half Asian leopard.
oh, it's
And
for sure
Oh,
gonna kill you in your sleep. That's what I'm hearing. Like it's
I
for
cannot. Not for sure gonna kill you.
no.
cats
I've
just look like
seen
they
those. I mean,
plotting
they're
on you.
cute.
I mean, they're big, but not able to kill me big. They're
No,
like,
no, you just gotta look in the eyes. Like it's just cats always look like they're like I love kittens,
yeah,
but cats look like they just looking for you to like
right.
slip or something. Like they don't,
They're very human-like.
they
So like they'll give
are.
you attitude, and they know how to cuddle, and they're too smart. Like my cat knows how to open every door and cabinet in the house.
Oh,
So I have to put
Wait,
a child
so
lock.
you have a cat already?
Yes, because I'm obsessed. I'm a
Oh,
crazy cat lady. Like I could have I could have like 10 if I wanted to. But yes,
got
like I said,
you.
Bengals are amazing. They're like dogs. They basically, you could walk them, you could take them swimming.
wait, do you
They're
like
like
put it on
a leash.
a leash?
Yeah, a harness. I'm gonna vlog it
Wait,
all. My leash training. I'm gonna vlog it all just to give people a different perspective of cats.
okay, we're gonna see if you can convince
Can't
me.
wait to see.
Yes.
Because it won't convince me to get one because I love dogs and I'll never get a dog. But I want to see.
You
I
wouldn't get a dog either?
no, it's a lot of It's like a permanent toddler. It's
It
like a lot of
is.
responsibility. They get cancer. They die in like 12 to 14
Yeah.
years. And it's just, and they're very like, yeah, it's a lot. But I will pet somebody's dog and hand it
Blair's a
back.
thinker, so literally like having
Look at my
her as a
doggy right there.
friend is
Oh,
so funny because the first time I ever heard anybody say, like, I was telling her, I'm like, oh, I'm thinking of getting a dog. And she's like, why would you get a dog why would you get something to add to your family that's going to die in 12 years? And I was like,
because people get so emotional about their pets. And
I'm
like,
like, what? Nobody has ever said that to me. So I
Yeah.
always like, I've also never heard anybody say that. So Blair,
yeah,
she's
little
amazing.
little too practical.
She's
But
very
yeah,
practical.
Well, I guess
yeah.
I'm not because now I'm about to have 3 of
I
them.
wanted
I'm like,
a
well,
dog so bad growing up,
I'm
like
still gonna
really
get a
bad.
dog. I am. I'm taking my time because I
yeah.
also know how busy I am. And dogs, you can't like you have to put them in, if you go out of town, you got to put them in boarding school, and
Boarding
unless you have a
school,
friend. What
Yeah,
is
that's
it called?
it's called boarding.
like you just
Dog
board
boarding.
them. They don't go to boarding school.
It's called dog
Like
boarding
yeah,
or
you're
something like that.
boarding them. Yeah,
Okay.
but it's not like they're going to the Swiss Alps for
uh,
6 months while
boarding
mommy and
school for
daddy go.
them punishment. They need to.
Something like that.
Oh man. So Morgan, she said she's never gone live before.
I know. I think that is so amazing that you're going live with us because we like to have a great time. So
Yeah, thank
And now you
you.
see it's like a safe, you got like I'm sure we're gonna see you go live now. You're gonna
go
get the
live
bug.
all the time.
I need to so I could have like a better connection with my community, answer
Mhm.
questions, and they could see me
Yeah.
live, not dancing 24/7 because that's like
Or you
all
can
they
still
know. That's all.
dance on
You,
live.
you can still dance on live if you want to.
No, I'll be embarrassed with that because it's live.
How many
I don't
takes
know.
do
It's
you
different.
do? How many do you do? Like a couple takes when you do your dancing videos?
It depends. If it's like a routine, yes. Like a TikTok dance, yes. But if I'm just freestyling, no.
She's like, look, it's
Yeah,
gonna
that's
take a
it.
break over here.
See, that is like a content creator. See, I'd rather do something live than
Really?
use than talk to my I'm talking to when you guys aren't here, but
Yeah.
I'm talking to myself. Like it's just the weirdest thing to
It's
me.
weird.
It's very weird. So I'm like, I can embarrass myself in front of people, but when I'm talking like to just a blank camera, I'm like,
Hello.
I can't tell. You do great on the show.
Doesn't
thanks. Well,
she?
because you saw the whole crew out there. It's like there's people there.
Oh,
It's just
okay.
me in my room on my like phone. Like, what are y'all
What's
doing?
up?
Yeah.
I can't do that.
It's weird. I hate
What is
talking in my
this,
videos.
B?
That's the TikTok. One of the I don't know how I can't do the young people
Corvette,
TikTok. What to
Corvette,
do?
Corvette.
Oh
Corvette,
yeah,
Corvette.
You got
that's all
it. I don't
I.
know how we got here.
Well,
This is why we
we
have Morgan.
are halfway through the season, so you are like our halfway mark, which is
Halfway.
insane. Because I feel like we just started like, yes,
This is our
Yeah,
first week.
that's crazy.
that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
It feels like our first week, but you are like, you're the halfway mark. It's so,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
but how did you get a chance to watch the episode?
Yeah, I did.
How did you feel about it? Like, what were your thoughts? And is there anything that you would have wanted to elaborate on a little bit more, or anything like that?
It was very long, so not that I could think of, like on top of my head. I know a lot of people do have questions, like what are the resources and
Yeah.
like how does an adult get diagnosed, or should I get my child diagnosed because I don't want them to have low self-esteem.
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of questions that we didn't answer that my audience, might ask frequently. So things like that. But overall, I think it was very well, like broad, and answered a lot of questions and gave people a perspective of my journey and how things went, how I found out about my daughter and how I found out about me. That a lot of people do ask about, like, every day.
Well, yeah, I would love to hear more about that because, like you said, I was even looking at your post that you did yesterday, and it was legit, like people starting to ask you questions about, was your speech delayed? And like they just immediately start asking you stuff. So I would definitely would love if you would just like off the top of your brain, one of the questions that you hear more often, if you would answer, just so that for anybody, and I don't know if you guys did this already because I joined a little late, but this is Ayumi, and she was on, and she did like she was on our show for autism awareness, and she was able to not only talk about how she advocated for her child, but also as she was trying to figure out what was going on with her child, she also found out that she as well was on the spectrum at the age of 30, which I can only imagine that is something that's a journey because you're literally trying to figure out like, okay, and you said this in the episode, you're like, I'm 30 years old and realizing that I'm autistic. Who am I? And when I heard that today again, I was like, man, that's so true. I feel like I would feel the same way. So yeah, I would love if you would just elaborate on that a little bit more and just help our audience, because I'm sure that there are people out there who, if they don't have an autistic child, maybe they are just battling within themselves and trying to figure it out.
Yes. So a frequent question is like, how were you as a child? Because a lot of parents are worried about their child and they see me and like, that's two different people. Like, is my child going to be like you? So everyone's different. But there are, for example, a lot of people who aren't even verbal until they're like 10, but they got their master's degree today. So like, be patient. But with my journey, now that I look back, you guys, it is so obvious that I was autistic as a child. Like, it was so obvious, okay? But in the 90s and 80s, like, I'm just a girl who might be a little, behind. That's what they seen, or, she's passing. So that's all that matters. So I don't know if it's called speech delay. I think so. Like I was talking, but I wasn't talking clearly, if that makes sense. Like I spoke very broken English. I'll say like I is going instead of like I am going. And like I remember my dad always correcting me, and I just never understood. Like my brain would not just
Are you
understand how to
bilingual?
happen. I am bilingual. But the thing is, I always thought like maybe I spoke like that because I'm bilingual.
Mm-hmm.
But my brothers are bilingual too. They had no issues with their speech. And another red flag, besides like me, to this day I struggle with talking, but it was way more severe when I was a child. But another red flag is like I couldn't really read for a very long time. So I barely passed elementary school, but I couldn't read really. They had to put me in like special reading classes and stuff like that. I couldn't really write. To this day, I don't know how to hold my pencil correctly, which is like another red flag of for autism is not being able to hold a pen or a pencil and like eat. So my daughter, she's 12, but eats like this, you know, like a toddler,
Yeah.
and I do too. So I know how to kind of hide it better. So, but yeah, like things like that, just like in certain areas, very behind. I also have like an obsession with animals, as you can see me right now. But, you know, I would always save wild animals and get attacked by them. And I
You did
would,
a post or something about that the other day. I was like, what is
yes,
happening?
yes. You're like, dang, it's getting worse and worse. What else is she spilling? It was getting worse and worse. She's like, oh, okay. I'm just like, whatever. I know everyone has some type of like quirk or secret that they don't share with everyone. So I'm like, I don't care. I'm gonna do it. But yeah, I got attacked by a chipmunk before. It was drowning in my pool, and yeah, I wanted to save his life. You probably should have got a net or like a box, but I just grabbed with my hand, and he was like biting my finger, like swinging all over my hands. Anyway, that's a different story.
But I mean, you did the first thing. I sometimes when your first reaction might not be the
Yeah,
altogether one, but I can understand that. I think seeing like a little mammal, like
drowning.
yeah, like I said, they can't live with me, but I don't think I could just like stand. I don't think I could just stand there and watch something drown. My God. So I
Yeah,
think you did the right thing. I was
I
just
was a
like,
kid too.
but
Like I did.
picturing it was
Yeah, I was only like 7, 8,
yeah.
9. So, you know, it's even worse. But another sign when I was a child is I couldn't make friends at all. And I never approached kids. If they try to approach me, I don't know, I might say something mean or something too direct, like talk about their facial feature, like, oh, your nose is really big or something like that, which sounds so mean. And they're like, oh my gosh, she's so mean. And I'm just like, no filter.
You're like, but it is.
I know. So
Like,
I
what are
would
we
get in
talking about?
trouble all the time. I would get in trouble. Oh my gosh, I just couldn't make friends, things like that. And even as an adult, I have challenges keeping friends, making friends, and I don't know why people just stop talking to me. I wish they did. I wish someone would say like, "Hey, you hurt my feelings," or
Yeah.
"Hey, yada yada yada," because I'm a very nice person. I'm giving. I'm always there. If you say, "Hey, come get me," I'm stuck on the highway. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. All right, I'm coming. Like I'm gonna do it. So I just get really confused when people stop talking to me or whatnot. And I think college is when I started to finally catch up when it came to my like academics. So that's when I figured out how to handle my learning disability because I do have a learning disability called dyslexia, which is when you have trouble reading, writing, and sometimes. Yeah. Is that my phone or your phone?
No, that was me.
Okay.
I'm not listening.
Let's see.
Sorry. My son, he was sick last week and he's finally got me. So my bad. Go on though. My apologies.
Oh no worries. That's it. Like that's all I could think about on top of my head was how I was as a child versus now I learn social cues. I still struggle, trust me. Like I might say something inappropriate, you know, or I'll laugh when I'm not supposed to. It's a struggle.
I was gonna say, how do you get people like from saying like I probably have autism too, and
Yeah.
like because imagine that's probably something you hear semi often,
Yeah,
like
I
everybody
do
now.
hear it often. I'm like, maybe you do. I don't know.
Well, I actually looked at one of your posts. One thing you said was like, hey, we gotta stop saying like, oh, because of one little thing that
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
persists.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I thought that that was really good because you were so correct. Like, oh, because I took a little bit of, chemistry, now I'm a scientist.
Yeah.
Or because I ate a little bit of like I ate a whole pack of Reese's, now I might have
Yeah.
diabetes. Like you literally said that, and I was like, yo, she's so
Aw.
correct.
When
Because
you
we're
put it
so,
like that, yeah.
we are very, very like, I feel like we all have a little bit of like hypochondriac in us. And
Yeah.
so we immediately, see something and we're like, oh my gosh, I might
Yeah.
also have that. But I love that you kind of called it out and you were like, no. And it wasn't like a call out in a way of you were shaming anyone. It was more so like, hey, make sure you get the necessary tests that you need to
Hmm.
take. Make sure you actually get diagnosed and don't just like self-diagnose yourself,
Hmm.
thinking that you have something when you might not. It just doesn't work
Yeah.
that way. And so
Yeah.
I actually really liked that post. And it made me very introspective because I'm like, man, I think I do that sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, it's normal and natural. People might be like, "Oh, it's my OCD," and
Mm-hmm.
and they really don't have OCD,
Oh,
but
yeah.
today they're just feeling a little frantic because of something. And
Yes.
a lot of comments people get when I tell them my symptoms or character traits, they're like, "Oh, that sounds like every other person." So technically, everyone's
Mhm.
autistic. I'm like, no. That's not the criteria. Of course, everyone has anxiety sometimes. Of
Mhm.
course, people are sensitive to light and might stutter here and there, or make mistakes
Mhm.
or have social skills that are out the window. But you have to have literally the checks on each box
Mhm.
in order to be autistic. Because of course, everyone's different. I'm different. My daughter is different than me, who's autistic. My other daughter, who's also autistic, is different. We're all different.
Mhm.
All three of us are autistic, but are so different. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. We're
And I
like,
think that's when coming to understand the spectrum, and the whole
yeah,
point of that is like there are people, and also I've heard that it presents different in girls
yeah,
than it does in
Yes,
boys,
I heard
like
that too.
which is why most girls aren't diagnosed with autism until
mhm.
later in life
Oh
or
yeah,
adult. But yeah, it's a huge spectrum, and you can't expect everybody to be the same. Or when you see, because I think a lot of people, like, especially because of how it's portrayed on television and
oh
shows,
yeah, they don't
it's
do a good
like
job.
it's like if you're autistic, that means you have a superpower. Like it's
Yeah,
basically like the new like Marvel or whatever,
yeah,
like DC Comics.
not the
And
new
not to say
Marvel.
like it doesn't exist, but it's like
Yeah,
it's so simplified these days where it's
yeah.
like
It's
yeah.
so true though. Like, oh, what's your superpower? I know all the facts about cats.
Now
It's not
I wish I had
useful.
a
That's
question
not
about
useful.
cats now.
You know all the facts about everything,
Except for
Blair.
cats.
I'm
Cats.
sorry, I can't agree on that. Literally knows a fact about everything. You could be talking about anything and she'll be like, well, fun fact.
Oh,
And she has
nice.
something that like it just doesn't matter what it is.
I gotta look up my cat facts.
After you learn about them, because they are
Well, is a
really.
hyena technically in the
Oh,
cat
you want me to
family?
tell me?
No,
You
you
want me
don't
to
have
tell my
to tell
hyena?
it. You
Oh, she
don't have
wants
to
me to
tell
tell
it.
my hyena fact.
You don't have to tell it.
I thought they were in the dog family.
Oh, right,
They are.
right. You're
They
right.
are.
I know about my animals, especially because of my kids. That's all they do is like read facts about them.
So my hyena fact.
Yes, I'm ready.
Please,
I want to hear
please.
one.
So hyena, hyenas actually have phallic
Ooh.
vaginas. So it's
Oh
like
boy.
they kind of like poke out like phallic, like
Oh
almost like a penis.
wow.
But it's to stop because the
Look
female
at.
hyena is an alpha. It's to stop them from being raped. So it
Oh.
makes it harder to have sex with them. So you can't just like come up on them and start like
Who knows
doing
that?
it to them.
Who
I
knows
didn't
And I
that?
know
believe that's true
that.
about elephants too. So
Oh
look up phallic vagina
wow.
and the animals that have them, but it's to keep them from getting raped because usually they're the more alpha in their like
Oh, that's
packs.
so sad that they gotta evolve like that.
Evolution's crazy. I believe in God, but I believe that He has helped things evolve
That's
for the greater
nice
good.
though. That's a good
Yes.
protection right there.
Yes. So who knows? In like 3,000 years,
We might have,
we might have
we
giants
might.
out here. Life is wild out here.
I'm
We,
telling you, I don't know if you've seen those videos about like how humans are going to evolve.
yes.
Like our eyes are supposed to be very big in the future, and like
Oh,
our
I
nose is
just saw
supposed
the
to.
ones where we all look like Aboriginals from Australia because it's like the whole world
Oh
is
yeah,
mixed.
that too.
I'm
I
that
guess
one.
I was talking way in the future when we turn into aliens.
Yeah, so we're gonna be Aboriginal aliens with
Yeah.
falcon arms. Period.
Period. We're gonna be smart though.
Will we be smart?
I don't think we're smart right now, low key. There's a lot of things I'm like, humans are not that smart. What's wrong with us?
We're not. And we have to be less smart now because everything's smart for us.
Oh
So
yeah, that's true. Very
yeah,
sad.
yeah.
Man, wow, guys, that was.
You wanted me to talk about. You wanted
I
me.
really didn't. I just wanted
I had no
you
cat
to.
fact.
My
Someone
brain
asked
went.
what test do they use to test autism in
There we go.
adults?
Okay, that's a interesting question because they don't really have like an official test for adults. So there's many different ways they could test you just like a child, like a neurologist, and go through the same exact steps of like asking you questions. And another way is like talking to a psychologist. That's what I did is I spoke to several psychologists and who specializes in diagnosing adults for autism. And they basically it was a 4-week process. Like it's a very long process of talking about your childhood, talking about literally your whole entire life. Yeah, it's just like a more of a verbal thing, like than a physical. So it was even, on the computer because in Vegas there's like no one who diagnose adults. There are like a couple, but they're always booked. Like, sorry, not taking no more clients. So I
Yeah.
had to talk to someone in LA, but you could Google adult autism assessments in your area and it will pop up. If you're in Vegas, good luck.
It makes
The
sense
struggle
that
is
the
real.
process is long because they probably want to make sure they're accurate, especially if
Yeah,
it's more qualitative, like that you're consistent, that the information's consistent. Because
exactly.
you might have a bad day one day, good day. You don't
Exactly.
know what the consistency is. So it makes sense that they're that thorough about it.
Very thorough. Even with my kids, like
So,
it's a long process. And sometimes I get it wrong.
yeah.
Sometimes you're like, no, in this session, she looks fine to me. And then the next session, he's like, you know what? Never mind. And
Man.
I'm just like, oh, you seeing it now, huh? Like you can't just talk to someone like me. Like you might not notice from hanging out with me for a day, but after hanging out with me for a week, I'm like, okay, yeah, she's a little different. People who I tell that I, knew for a while, they're not surprised.
Yeah.
Not surprised. And when I told my Asian mother, I was like, what do you feel? Like, how do you feel? I'm autistic. And she's like, oh, I knew you were different. I'm like, oh, well, thank you for not doing anything about it.
And like you
I'm like,
said, like back in the like 90s, 80s, like
yeah,
now we talk about autism so regularly, but back then it was like I
it's
heard
like
of two things. It's
taboo.
like
Yeah,
Asperger's, which fun fact, it's not Asperger's anymore. It's all the
yeah,
spectrum. Asperger's was actually named after a Nazi.
yeah,
Asperger's is canceled. It's
yes,
just spectrum now. But back then it's like it was that, which meant basically you were like a normal
yeah,
autistic person, and then there was like extreme autism. Is
yeah,
I don't think anybody would have, especially back then, put you or your daughter
yeah.
probably in.
Probably not because I think back then you had to be
Yeah,
severe. Like I am 7 and not talking, and I'm
yeah.
just flapping my arms, and I can't do nothing.
Huh.
I was talking like a caveman, but I was barely making
It was
it.
coming out. It
It was
counted.
coming out. I was able to, communicate. Might not be the best.
Yeah.
And I remember my dad always making remarks like, "Dang girl, like like you can't talk good." And I'm just like, I don't know, I can't get it, but he always corrected me, and I know he's on the spectrum. He's definitely on it. My whole
Yeah.
family on my dad's side.
Yeah.
literally. After figuring out, I'm like, oh, that's why he's so different. Oh, that's why my brothers are different. Oh, that's why my cousins are different. Like the whole family on that side is definitely like no doubt about it. So
That was actually
makes
going to be my
sense.
next question, given the cultures, like your mom's culture, then you got Black culture. It's like,
Yeah,
and then, and the fact that we don't want anything, to be
exactly.
wrong with our, like, how was it actually for your mom, when or when you got, I guess you're 30 at this point. What's she going to do?
And I'm not that
What's
old.
she gonna what's she gonna say? But I guess maybe even her experience, what was the experience like growing up with an Asian mother, and you're already biracial, and
Yeah.
then have these delays. Have you guys talked about?
Yeah, I have. I was like, how you didn't know? That's the thing. She's the most Asian person ever. Like, she doesn't even speak English. So she just thought, I just have this little Black kid. She don't know. She don't know what's happening. So and my dad's working
Yeah.
24/7. So she didn't know
Yeah.
better. Like, she thought, she don't know if I'm speaking proper English. You
Oh
don't
man.
know if I'm doing homework wrong or right. She's like, hey, she's passion shoot.
Oh,
So
you
like
didn't have
that.
a chance, girl.
No, I had no chance. I literally had no chance. And bilingual at the time. So like I had no
Yeah.
chance. So like I don't have resentment
Oh
or
yeah.
anything because actually, it was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Times were different. We didn't have the resources. I was making it,
Mm-hmm.
but barely. And she didn't know
Yeah.
better. Now she's still, they're very old school.
Mm-hmm.
My parents had me in their 30s and 40s. So they're like older generation. So they're still like, I don't really understand what it is because you seem normal to
Yeah.
me. So they're just like, they just label everything nowadays. So they don't really understand it. Even with my kids, they're
I was
really
just gonna.
understanding, if that makes sense. Like if they have, for example, this is not like a real case, but for example, if they have like, what is it called? Like a tantrum, they might be like, oh, like this is horrible. But I'm like, they're autistic, like things like that. They're just like not very patient with sometimes. But it's that culture of, boomers and
Yeah.
mental health is not,
I gonna say even without the autism thing,
yeah.
older parents in general, they think we are way too soft on our
Yes.
kids, period. So I can't imagine with the even more justifiable reason
Yes.
why my child's acting like this, and your
Yes.
parents still like, you
Yeah.
spoiling them kids.
Yeah, exactly. Well, kids, but I'm just like, no, I do my research and this is the way to do it, okay? Because they literally can't help it. So just be patient and don't traumatize them even more by, getting mad at them for being overstimulated or not understanding how to express their emotions. Because even for adults, it's hard for us to regulate our emotions sometimes. So I can for a child or a kid on the spectrum, it's way harder.
Yeah, I agree.
How did
Wow.
so you were already an influencer before you got diagnosed with autism, right?
Yes.
So how, like, you go from like dancing and having, just to now being like, I am,
Hmm.
the autism spokesperson. Like,
Yeah.
how do you feel about how much your life has changed since you got diagnosed, or how people see you? Are you like,
I think everyone treats me the same. Yes, I might get the R word sometimes and
oh,
death threats in my DMs, but
really?
yeah, I get crazy stuff in my DMs sometimes. But lately it's been a lot better. Morgan's like, what the? But yeah,
Yeah, no.
yeah, literally like death threats and like crazy stuff. I'm just like, I need to report these people, but
Yes.
Instagram, like, I'm sorry, we didn't find anything wrong with their page. I'm like, not their page. Their messages to me. Hey,
Hi. Oh, hi, Kofi.
thank you. But yeah, I think I love it. I since I was a kid, I feel like I was on this planet with a purpose.
Yeah.
Like I want to change the world, and I don't know what it is, but I just want to change the world, make it a better place. I'm like, maybe it's a doctor. Like I want to become a doctor or a dentist. I always felt like a passion to be an advocate for something to help people. So that's why I got, my science degrees. I'm like, okay, I'm about to become a doctor because I want to help people. And going to school was very stressful with these kids. So anyway, then that's when I found out, you know, during COVID-ish, with the autism diagnosis with my daughter and me. And I'm just like, this is what I put on the planet for. Like, I felt it. Like, I share this with everyone. Like, if I had no clue, imagine all the other people or women or children, because I personally see people who have kids that I know that are on a spectrum, but they don't do anything about it. There's nothing wrong with my kid, you know, are in denial. And I'm just like, you are hurting your child more than anything. Because if I could go back in time and my parents was aware and, you know, was able to give me those resources, I wish I had those resources. So as an autistic person myself, I'm like, give your child those resources, get them diagnosed, because it's going to benefit them. It's going to help them, you know, mentally and physically when they're adults to become more independent. And I had a lot of failures in life and low self-esteem due to not me getting any accommodations at school, for not being able to read or write. If I got help, maybe my self-esteem would have been better. I would have been like, oh, I'm so stupid. Everybody in my class could read, but not me. But if I knew I was autistic, I'm like, well, I can't help it. So, you know, I wouldn't be so hard on myself. Even as an adult in my 20s in the Army, me being behind mentally in some areas, my self-esteem was so low. I'm like, oh, I can't memorize ranks, because you know, there's like ranks on your uniform. I'm like, I'm having so much trouble memorizing the ranks, and I felt so dumb. And I'm like, why can everybody just memorize it like that? And like that I was delayed in work, like working a 9 to 5 and school and college. I was just so behind, and I was just like, what's wrong with me? But if I would have known, my self-esteem would have been so much better. I would have just been a different person, honestly, because I went through a lot and I wasn't patient with myself. I was very hard on myself. My anxiety, my mental health was like low. And people on the spectrum, studies show that their self-esteem and their mental health is like bad. Depression, anxiety is like 7 to 10 times worse than like the average person. So I just knew that, you know, after finding out, I'm like, I need to share this with everyone else so I can help some kids out there, help some parents out there, other people who are undiagnosed, because it's life-changing. And like, just to learn about yourself. Once you learn about yourself, you can help yourself more. So
That's actually a really good point. Like, you know, we think about like little kids, and sometimes they are lagging behind, and we just attribute it to, you know, they're just a little behind, or whatever we want to do to make it make sense, because, you know, sometimes we don't want to find out whatever could be there or not be there. But what you said about, like, if you had known, there's just so much of your life that wouldn't have been spent thinking your actual, like, I'm sure we all, you know, think we're stupid once, you know, we all have that moment, but like to truly believe that, where, you know, I think in some ways we think we're protecting our kids or speaking life into our kids, or, you know, just like, if you don't say it, it's not true. And that kind of just made me think about that. Like, it's just not worth it. Like,
and you know, I was that parent, honestly. I was that parent because when I had my oldest, there are times people are like, hey, your kid isn't talking that well. And she's at the age, my kid is the same age as your kid, and they speak very clearly. And I would get so offended. I'm like, no, like, she's smart, which she was. She was very smart. I understood her because I'm her mom. But everyone else couldn't understand her. So I was that mom, like, no, there's nothing wrong with my kid. But there are times people are like, oh, you know, her speech is delayed, or da-da-da-da. Like, have you ever thought of autism and this and that? I'm like, no. But as she got older, I'm like, okay, something's not adding up. I wish, like, I would have was more educated about autism 10 years ago, because I would have got her the resources a long time ago. But I was at
the normal response. I think if anybody said that to any of us, you're protecting your child. Like,
exactly.
I would also like to say, like, I know, wow, my phone.
I was like,
my phone is
she's making us wait for it.
But it doesn't discount anything that you did in the past. But when I was listening to you, I hear you keep saying was, and like all past tense. And so I would love to just encourage you to know that, like, what you're doing now is making up for all of the time that you didn't know, what was wrong with you. And not only that, but you're doing it double times over, because you're doing it for not only you, but you're doing it for your daughter as well. So it's like you're redeeming all of that. And I just want to tell you that, like, that's still amazing. Like, that's really good. And it just seems like you are a lot more sure of yourself. And even like I've heard you say it, not only tonight, but even like looking at just the content in our show, like you're like, I feel like I finally found my calling. And I think that that is beautiful. And I do believe that that's what you found. And that is like what this is all about, is to help someone else. And so even though it does, I feel like we all are like, gosh, why do I have to go through this just to get here?
Yeah.
I've been there, but oh my gosh, you're doing a great thing. So I will just want to encourage you and say, I see you, girl.
Yeah.
I'm emotional up in here.
Yeah. That cat. You know, there are these cats that have like these dopey eyes. I would like, those cats are cute to me. They have like big dopey eyes.
Yeah,
Like
I think
the cats with their eyes, or when they're like this, they just look
the
like
Asian
they're,
eyes.
yeah, they're just they plotting. But I
He's very like alpha male, so he looks like a man. Like his face looks like that. Almost like,
doing the light
okay.
skin, the light.
Yeah, he acts like it too. He's a mess.
Tell him he's a ginger. He's a ginger. What's
He
his
is a
name?
ginger. He's so different. He likes to get baths and everything.
Oh.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Well, at least your kids are learning responsibility. Pets do teach that. If you actually enforce you're not teaching your kids responsibility. That's on you.
I know. I'm about to say, who cleans the cat litter? I do. Who picks up the poop? I do. I don't even trust my kids.
Said he's a Kappa.
He's a Kappa. I cannot.
Yeah. That cat be shimmying.
Very, very much so. Kappa
Hey.
energy.
Kappa energy. That's what you're giving, Curry.
Oh my
His
God.
name is Chef Curry.
Oh, that's cute. I like that.
Because he's orange, like the food curry, and then his belly's white. So like, and then he's.
Oh, I thought it was because of Steph Curry.
That too.
So it's like a.
It's like so many things.
Okay.
Like, okay, you know, like the food, and then like Chef Curry, he's biracial. My cat, I'm gonna say he's biracial because he half orange, half white. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, is there anything you want to leave with our audience? Anything you have coming up? Anything you just want to make sure that the people know that came straight from Ayumi's mouth?
I'm sorry, he's trying to eat my sushi.
Sounds on brand for a cat.
You see that? Yeah.
I mean, at least it's not eating your face. So, you know.
Yeah. You're like, when you get that bingo, though, let me know how that goes. But
I think the Bengal will, like, I've seen it. It's safe. I don't know how many like cat deaths there's been, like cat murders there have been.
Yeah.
It's just something like in my life that I just can't get out of my head. So maybe it's just like if I get a cat, that would be my outcome.
Yeah.
So I will never. Go on.
Well, when you come to Vegas, maybe you can meet one of them.
Oh,
I will, and I will even pet it and everything because it won't be in the room with me while I'm sleeping.
I'm
Exactly.
allergic.
Yes.
I'm
Oh,
allergic
we
too,
will
but I
not
love
be. We will not be around the cat because Morgan's allergic.
Fine.
We'll wave up.
Okay, from afar.
I kind of want to meet Chef Curry though.
He is
I can't lie.
a cool cat. Like every time people come over, they're like, "That is the coolest cat ever," because he lets anyone pick him up, and he just rubs on you. He's so sweet.
You were answering Morgan's question because Morgan actually asked a really good question
Okay.
before.
I'm
Yes,
sorry,
anything
my
for the people that you want to
ADHD.
leave them with.
One, I will be on live more. Thank you very much. To answer questions and just to build a community and talk to you guys. That's one. Two, I think that's it. I'm like, I think I pretty much said everything that's going on for me. I'm like, at the beginning, so I'm like, two, that's it.
I think that's a good one. Whenever we can like encourage somebody to do something they've never done before, or like,
thank you.
to, you know, break out of their shell, I think that that's amazing. So go you! I'm cheering you on from the East Coast.
East side.
Yeah, we really appreciate you. We appreciate you for joining us not only tonight, but also on set for the show. If you guys have not, please make sure that you go, hey, no girl. Make sure that you go and watch the episode, whether it be tonight, or you can also listen if you don't have time to put your eyes on us. Guess what? We are on all podcast platforms, and so you can do that as well. And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. That always helps if you just subscribe to us as well. And if you're not following, if you came over here because you are a Moms Actually girly or guy and you're not following Ayumi, make sure you go and follow her. She's great content, very entertaining. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun.
And we're coming to, I keep saying we're coming to Vegas to make sure we actually come to Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh, off season. We got to do, yeah, that would be a great thing.
That would
That
be
should one
fun.
of our off season things.
When is off season?
Yes, so we actually, it's coming very soon.
Okay.
Like in a blink.
In a blink.
Okay, well, let me know.
Nothing for it yet, but it is coming.
I'm going to be in Colombia and Hawaii, so.
Oh yeah, no, it'll probably be the next off season. It'll probably be the top of, I say top of 24 or late. It could be late this year.
Yeah.
In the cold?
We'll figure it out, but trust me.
Okay.
Just know
we gonna be
when we show up, you're gonna be like, oh, they really came. Nice.
We're really coming.
I'm gonna be ready. Y'all better be ready, because I run stuff out here. So
okay.
I get all the hookups. Hey, I get all the hookups. People think I'm lying, and then when they come visit me, I'm just like, here, you get free shoes at Steve Man, and they're like, for real? I'm like, yeah, I got you.
VIP, I'm ready.
VIP,
right. We love a VIP.
VIP treatment. So let me know.
So much, girl. We really appreciate you.
Of course.
I'm gonna try to get my kid to actually stay in bed now because it's nearly 10
and
it's it's not the weekend tomorrow. I don't know what's happening, but yeah.